Regulations for possible adoption, public comment allowed. Commission Regulation 17-01, taking of raptors for falconry for 2017-2018. Wildlife Diversity Administrator Jennifer Newmark for possible action. The Commission will consider and may take action to approve the 2017-2018 season dates, species, quotas, limits, closed areas, application procedures and deadlines, and take of raptors for falconry. Ms. Newmark.
Good morning. For the record, I'm Jennifer Newmark. I'm the Diversity Division Administrator. This agenda item is to set the regulations for falconry for the next 2 years. At this time, we are not recommending any changes from the prior 2-year period. And we continue to recommend a limit of 1 raptor per permit and of not more than 1 species. So there's one exception to this. A person may take another raptor of the same species to replace a bird captured in the same year if that bird died or was lost. We recommend the following species remain open to falconry. That's going to be the Cooper's hawk, sharp-shinned hawk, prairie falcon, merlin, American kestrel, red-tailed hawk, and the great horned owl. And the ferruginous hawk, sorry, almost missed that one. And these species are open for falconry statewide. In addition, we recommend northern goshawk be open statewide with the exception of Elko County north of I-80. We continue to recommend the restriction of leaving 1 eyas or young bird in the nest to ensure maintenance of the population. And no eyas or nestling can be removed prior to 10 days of age, and no nest should be entered when young or 28 days or older. And these restrictions are in place to prevent inadvertent forcing of fledglings or nest abandonment by adults. For quota numbers, we're recommending the same limits as in prior years, and I just thought it might be helpful for you to have some context as far as what those numbers have been looking like over the last 10 years. We average about 31 permits a year, and of those 31 permits, we average about 15 raptors that are taken each year for falconry. And so some of the in some years it's high, it's 26 birds are taken, and some years it's low, like in this last year we've only had 8 taken. And then one other thing I just wanted to mention, that about 47% of those birds that are taken for falconry are taken, they're called passage birds, so they're taken from free-flying birds, not taken out of the nest. So it seems to be a pretty reasonable balance between taking nestlings and taking free-flying birds. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer those.
Thank you. Any questions by the Commission? Commissioner Hubbs.
Yes, hi, Ms. Newmark. My question to you is, how are you monitoring numbers of those, of the falconry species that you're allowing to be taken, just out of curiosity?
We do routine surveys throughout the year during the winter time for raptors to give us an estimate of how many are out there. And then in addition, anytime a bird is removed from the wild, that individual needs to come and check their bird in. So that's how we're monitoring how much is taken. The majority of the species that are used for falconry are quite common species. Red-tailed hawks, Cooper's hawks are pretty much considered from national perspectives to be stable and growing in populations. They're well adapted to urban areas and are flexible in their habitat needs. Species such as goshawks that are a little bit more sensitive and tied to riparian areas. We've just been completing a 3-year intensive statewide survey of those birds, and their populations, to our best of our knowledge, are stable. And we're about to look at ferruginous hawks in a little bit more detail over the next couple years.
Commissioner Drew.
Just maybe, Ms. Newmark, a little information on why the specific closure for northern goshawk north of I-80 and Elko.
Sure. So a little bit before my time, but how I understand it is there has been, so goshawks are tied to riparian areas, and many of those riparian areas in Elko County have been declining, and the numbers of goshawks in the area have been declining. So I believe that the closure happened to allow the northern goshawk to recover. We are seeing some recovery in the area, but it does take a lot of time, and so at this time, we're still recommending that closure to be maintained.
Further questions from the commission? Seeing none, this is an action item. I'll take it out for public comment in Carson City. Coming up, Paul.
For the record, Paul Dixon, Clark County. Several years ago, when we went from state to federal regulations, I had probably a dozen or more falconry people attend my meeting while we were going through that. And I will say that since we have adjusted to the federal regulations and stuff, I haven't received any correspondence, and I haven't had anybody attending the meetings when we brought these back up, which would suggest to me the lack of the falconry is coming because they were concerned when we went to the federal guidelines. They want to make sure things were done right, that what we have here is acceptable to the falconry people, because I've heard nothing to the contrary. And so it was a pretty smooth vote at our thing there, because we didn't have anybody that was protesting anything going on. But just the lack of participation in my cab suggests to me that they're happy with the guidelines and the recommendations coming from the department. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment in Carson City? Seeing none, public comment in Las Vegas?
No comments in Las Vegas, Chairman.
Thank you. I'll bring it back to the commission for a motion or further discussion. Commissioner Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve Commission Regulation 17-01, the 2017 and 2018 seasons and quotas for taking raptors for falconry as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Johnson and a second by Commissioner McNinch to accept Commission Regulation 1701 as presented. I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to agenda item number 8, Commission Regulation 17-02, non-commercial collection of reptiles and amphibians for 2017-2018. Wildlife Diversity Administrator Jennifer Newmark for possible action. The Commission will consider and may take action to approve 2017-2018 season and limits for non-commercial hobby collecting of live, unprotected reptiles and amphibians. Ms. Newmark.
Good morning again. For the record, I'm Jennifer Newmark, and the Diversity Division Administrator. So for this regulation on non-commercial collection of reptiles and amphibians, we are again proposing no changes from the prior 2-year period. This is also a 2-year regulation. We're recommending that field collection season is open from January 1 to December 31 of each year, and we are recommending the same bag and possession limits for each of the species as in prior years. I would note that we do not require a permit for hobby collection of non-commercial reptiles, and so I don't have a lot of good information on reporting that I could provide sort of the context like I did for the falconry regs. But from in talking with my staff and in my division, we feel that the limits and the species that are on the regulation here are reasonable, and we don't see any evidence that these species are being unduly impacted by hobby collection.
Thank you, Ms. Newmark. Any questions? Seeing none, this is an action item. I'll take it out for public comment in Carson City. No public comment in Carson City. We'll have public comment from Las Vegas.
No public comment from Las Vegas.
Thank you. Bring it back to the commission for motion or discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve Commission Regulation 17-02, non-commercial collection of reptiles and amphibians for 2017-2018 as presented by the department.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Commissioner McNinch and a second by Commissioner Barnes to approve Commission Regulation 1702, non-commercial collection of reptiles and amphibians for 2017-2018 as presented. I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously.